Okay, folks, good morning. Let's see if we have better luck with the stream today than we did yesterday. Apparently, the internet was kind of shitty. And it wasn't shitty here, so I have a feeling it was a YouTube problem. That has happened before. See if we can adjust the screen. Some things that should be easier to do on this than they are. Okay. All right. So we were working on some fencing. This is one that I got done a week or so ago. So this is kind of what we want to replicate, just using a tongue depressor and just little pieces of bass or balsa. And yeah, so I've got 2 of these made, and here's another 4 that I'm going to make before we start getting any interesting shapes. I don't know how interesting I'm going to do them. They need to be kind of a little free form and able to make whatever you need to for the track, just to kind of create some barriers. I don't like creating a whole lot of you have to drive this way through that spot in this manner, becomes too restrictive, especially since it's not a real driving thing. I mean, you're controlled by these turn things. Maybe the other version of the templates are not very. There's a lot of room in between. You can either be here or you could be here, but you can't get somewhere in the middle, kind of thing. So you need to be a little flexible how you're going to get from point A to point B. Good morning, Derek. You have to work today? You said you work on Saturdays, but you work 6 days a week, so I can't give you too much shit. You're not on that Mitch schedule where complains about work. He doesn't really complain about work on weekends, but it's just not very conducive to people that have a normal schedule. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and paint these, and we got the base kind of put a light gray on here, and we're going to go ahead and do the red, bring the red almost all the way up, and then we'll do the white in between it. And I'm going to measure it. When I worked weekends, it's the only job I've had I didn't hate going to. And that's when I worked at the hobby store. I never hated working at the hobby store. Never. Just didn't pay the bills. But, I never was like, fuck, I gotta go to work, So. All right. Well, I had intentionally hauled a bunch of other cars yesterday. And I tried to do a show yesterday, but I guess the YouTube sometimes acts slow for everybody. And I think that was one of those things. You can't complain too much. It is free. I wouldn't do this show if YouTube charged me. I'd do it if I broke even. I wouldn't. If there was no revenue, I don't do it for the revenue. There's no revenue, but I mean, might as well take some of Google's money. They're just going to use it for the wrong thing. I'd like to think. Although I think one of the things that I would really like to do is having gone into something like Google Maps, because I am a Google Map fiend. I love anything map related. I'm really good with maps. Even before Google Maps, I am geographically inclined. But I'd probably have to work in a Google office, which is one big warehouse with no dividers and everybody listening to music and playing with hacky sacks and all that shit, blue hair. I don't belong in a place like that. I mean, somewhere a little bit more traditional. I don't know if I could work in an office that didn't have its own door. I'd got to do a lot of stuff that involved precision and not be interrupted, or you just end up costing the company kind of money. So, I'm going to try to do the same spacing. I don't want to mark it out. I don't want this to look super professional. I mean, it's close enough. You can glance at it. It doesn't look way off. And that's all we want. These are painted by criminals. So I don't even have the spacing of these exactly even on purpose. But I actually painted the backs of these yesterday morning, and I feel like this light sometimes is my worst enemy, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Impressionistic a little bit, pretending it like it has detail that it does not. I love painting wooden looking things, and it's just using craft paint. I guess I should put my glasses to see if it's even in focus. Just maybe 5, 6 different layers of colors on there. But I'm enjoying this kind of putzing around. I feel like doing a car. Let me do some terrain. Let me do it. Not this. You got to get this done by this time because you're running a game. I hate to seem negative, but I don't give a fuck if I play this game again. And it's not that it's a bad game. It's just like it doesn't drive my. That's not the drive here. The drive is to fucking relax. Not that I'm wound up right now, but I have a paint after work to chill out, not have a drink after work to chill out. So many people are like, you got to get this done by that. Like, I don't need more people giving me tasks and having me do them, especially if you're underworked at your employment or retired. I don't take orders from retired people. Sorry, pal. Okay, relatively dark color here. Let's get a little bit more volume as we do go through a fair amount of paint. That's why I like using craft paint. I don't worry about, man, you're sure using a lot of paint. It's damn near free. It costs more to go get the paint than to actually get the paint. Maybe I will mark it down. How far are these apart? I'd like to use metric if possible, because I like whole numbers. The center point of these are like 25 millimeters in between each one. Okay. So let me put a mark every 25 minutes. Let's do one this way and see if I even like it. Make sure I'm doing this right. Let's start the first one here. We'll do a mark there. 25, 5. Let's try that. Maybe like, it's a waste of time. Stream is better today. Oh, I didn't do anything. Did you see any of the cars at all? Or was it like I wasted my time doing it? Man, I'm telling you, this size brush is like a really good size brush for a lot of things. Alright, so there we got our marks, which are pretty even, and I'm just going to fatten them out in both directions. Yeah, I may like this method better, I may not. I don't mind taking a look at it and talking about it. It sounds like the audio was messed up. Somehow this isn't working. I got it in the middle. If I make this wider and I make this one wider, the gap in the white here is significantly. All right, we're gonna set this one aside and do it the wing way. You saw a blue and a red one. Let's fucking do it now. Okay? That's hilarious. That's hilarious that I measured it. What was I doing? Not holding my mouth right? Maybe it was a 1.5 between each one. All right, we'll do that next time. All right, let's see. Easy fix. Welcome to the Mistake Channel. I like to think I don't make any mistakes really that I can't fix, so it's not really a big deal. It builds caricature. All right, I'm going to move this one off to the side because this is the thing you talked me into. And I mean that in a good way. Of course, if it turns out like shit, it's on you. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's do this last. Actually, let the last be first. I picked up this. Let's kill this. You guys can see it a little bit better. I ended up picking up another one of these monster trucks, which is like what the Twinkie Mobile. The bottom of the Twinkie Mobile is out of one of these. It's that shark one that's floating around here somewhere. The body of it. So this is, what is this? Some kind of digger. Son of a digger. You son of a digger. And I'm going to use the undercarriage of this to go with the top of this truck. You said this would make a good lifted truck. And I'm like, well, I wasn't planning on lifting it, but now you put that idea in my head. And sure. Why not? And that means I can use these cool wheels on something else. It doesn't have them. So that was the last thing I showed. Probably didn't hear the audio either. All right. I had no intention of getting all this stuff. It just kind of happened. And I'm going to start then with one I had never seen before, and actually the catalyst for getting some of these. And I had never seen one of these in the store. And it is a Ferrari Dino 206T. And I love rummaging through the cars that I'm not looking for treasure hunts. I think every treasure hunt looks like shit to begin with. They're paint schemes that are gaudy or over the top in a bad way. You know, I'm not interested in them at all. So I was subscribed to a couple of Hot Wheels groups, and I left a lot of groups this last week because I realized I didn't go to them, or they were just other places where people like to go and bitch. And about scalpers, or people, hey, look what I picked up, and they picked up like 12 of the same vehicle. I'm like, the fuck are you gonna do with that? Or I don't want to be a member of any group where basically most people just keep them on a card and mount them on a wall. I'm like, okay, what a collecto nerd, So this will be some kind of Italian, obviously. Probably not going to repaint it, other than the inside that's chrome. So what else we got here? I'll try to describe what I'm going to use it for. I ended up going to your favorite place in the world, DG. And I'm not 100% happy with that car for Maryland manslaughter. I'm not. It's just it's the right color. I don't know that it's the right shaped vehicle, and it's a little too. It just doesn't have the right look just yet. So, Maryland manslaughter needs to be more like a minivan. So here's this a failure of a vehicle. If you guys have one of these, I'm sorry. I heard way back when, I remember Consumer Reports that this was a fail on every level. But it's a Pontiac Aztec Custom. So probably going to repaint this in some girly type color. And try to give this a shot as the manslaughter. Still armed the same way it's designed. That's not going to change. So, and this was the other thing that I picked up. Speaking of having four of some vehicle, I actually bought this one just for the wheels because I have some of them. These are, in my opinion, some of the best wheels you can get on any vehicle for something that looks rugged. This is a Defender, Land Rover Defender, super cute vehicle. I believe I have one in tan, and this one, and they both have a number 68, so that's kind of stupid. So, but I got this one just for the wheels, and that's actually this is the best or one of the best Hot wheels, and the other ones is the wheels. Matchbox has some that are like this, that are not necessarily brown, but this style wheel is super handy for all kinds of stuff. They're rugged, but they're not like massive where they don't fit on a lot of vehicles. So I got this one specifically for the wheels. Actually got these two at lunchtime, and then I stopped at the Dollar Tree on the way home and picked up these other 8 or so vehicles. This is the first one of these that I've gotten, and I'm not sure this is going to work out, but it's kind of unique looking. It doesn't look too out of scale. And it's a Purple Passion tuned. I don't think it's that much more out of scale than the Simpsons car. But I don't have any of those. Supposedly there's one of them that's a super treasure hunt that's worth a shitload of money. Well, they say that. It's worth a lot of money, but when you try to sell it, nobody gives you anything for it. That's why you should just buy things you like. Like somebody's comment this morning, I was looking through it. Aren't they worth more out of in the package? Open them, man. They're not meant to be just like closed. Okay, I had seen this one before. This is definitely going to be a repaint. And this is a 41 Willys Coupe. Probably going to do this a base black. Big engine on it. It's got a blower on it. It's not huge, but as Segundo Scorcher. I don't know. It could be a Mexicano mobile. Maybe. Yes, I said it that way on purpose. What the hell's a Mexicano? Here's a vehicle I've heard a lot of people talk a lot of things about, but everybody says, oh, everybody's got one of these. I don't. Well, I do now. 55 Nomad's got a good paint scheme on it. Probably keep the paint scheme, change out the wheels. I don't think that white walls works with this for me. Maybe some wheels like this would probably work. I don't like jumping in and just start working on a vehicle. I like to come up with a name and then find the vehicle for it. Or look through vehicles and a name comes up. That's my preference. I'd seen this one before. This is going to need to be, I'm going to keep it in the paint scheme, but I'm going to repaint it. Well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, it's got a stripe on the hood, and the hood doesn't follow across the top of the vehicle, and it looks awkward. It's got too much orange from it's just, It's just got too much orange on it. This is a Lotus Elise for the Brits, no doubt. And this is all it's Case H, which has been out for a little bit. I just haven't seen all these. Now, restocking. The Walmarts here restock so fucking slow. I think that they may have restocked, both Walmarts may have restocked once between both stores since September. I just don't see any new stuff. It gets really low and nothing else goes on there. Dollar Tree restocks all the time. The Dollar General things don't really move there, so they had a good stock, but you know. And then last but not least, I have one of these in green. I picked this up and I go, oh, Black Cat. I don't know that I'm going to call it that. I may end up not using this and returning it because I have the green one. The green one looks a little nicer. All this gold shit is going to be redone anyways. This isn't... I don't know. I just never seen one in black. So, mine's in green. That's the one I wanted. I think I've seen it in white or red also. But I wanted the green one. Once I found out it was a green one, that's the one I wanted to get. So that's what we picked up. So, you know, nothing spectacular. Nothing unspectacular. A lot of these things... I wasn't planning on getting any, and then I saw the Dino, and I'm like, all right, well, I could use a Dino. Not that I know anything about the Dino, but it's a good-looking car. It's red. But that conversion I did with the Twinkie was one of my favorite things to do. Now, I didn't enjoy filling the back side of these with hot glue, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to need more hot glue if I'm going to do that again. It looks fine, but it was a long process. It took a lot longer than possible. Yeah. Son of a digger. Anyhow, that's the excitement that I had. I like that car with a checkered pattern. I have a car with a checkered pattern? You talking about the 55 Nomad? That's got to be the only one that could pretend. Is it checkered? Let's see. Hijo de la gran puta. It's going to be the last one I'm going to pull out, isn't it? No, it's not. Does it have a checkered pattern? Stripe, maybe. That's got to be... Gotta be that one. Yeah, it's pretty hardy. I don't want the white walls on it. I'll probably... doesn't mean I don't want the white walls. Yeah, I do. I just want to put them on a different vehicle. I'll put one of the lowriders. These things really are beautiful. It's a fucking $1 and, you know... Take them apart, and it doesn't get any cheaper than that. Oh, or you're talking about this one that has a checkered pattern. Yeah, the Inverness Impaler. You're talking about this one? This thing's gonna look good. Strip whatever I have, gloves on, and hard to type. Oh, okay. So you did. Yeah, the Nomad looks good. Nomad looks good. We're repainting. You know, if something has a cool pattern, I don't want to repaint it. It's like somebody went through, like this thing, the Jackal. The Jackal has all these advertisers and stuff on here, and it's all appropriate to what I'm doing. And I just realized I'm going to have to put the window in because otherwise it does not have this rear section, or at least cut that rear section out. So... If I'd forgotten it, no big deal. I just would have had to put something over there to not drive me crazy. You got gloves on. Huh? Committing a crime or something? You seen those videos where people like do unboxings and they put gloves on? I mean, somebody going to recognize people because of their... I assume that they don't have their voice shown either. Which I can see that. I can see not wanting to say, hey, I'm so-and-so and such and such. All right, let's try marking this at 1.5 and see if we do a better job. I was retarded because I didn't start with a 1. Idiot. You idiot. All right, we're going to mark 1 here. We're going to go 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9. 1.5, 3. 4.5, 6, 7.5. All right, let's try this now. Yeah, these guys will do these videos. They'll be unboxing. The whole guy's like wearing like these black gloves. Which I think the first people I ever saw using black gloves were like mechanics. I think that's a great idea. You don't get all that grease and stuff on you. But you also can't tell if you have grease on your hands. I don't see what the purpose of that is. Maybe if you have like swastika tattoos on your hands, maybe you don't want people to see that. But other than that, I'm not sure what's going on there. I want to remain anonymous. Have your like hands been in porn or something? Yeah. Nobody gets to see my hands for free, you know? I don't know. I don't really understand what's going on there. All right, let's widen these things up. Just kind of get it close. Just get the basic size. This is really thin, so we're not adding any thickness to it. We're going to see like some paint line, and then when you move it, you laid too much paint there. So after this, I think I'm inspired to do more terrain, even though I got cars. I'm not really pressed to do anything. Like I was saying earlier, I do this to get stuff done and feel good about it, not to take orders. I gotta get this done by a certain time. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. Some of the most discouraging stuff I've ever done in the hobby involves volunteering to do things in good nature and people not responding by showing up. And it's like, all right, well, I can go waste my time doing something else. So I know that there's a gentleman, I assume they're a gentleman, on the Gaslands group that always is posting. I just did a post recently where he built a bunch of cars as giveaways for a Gaslands game. Great idea, right? But I think I commented on it, or I asked him how it went or something like that the last time he did it. And he gave me some kind of a response like, it was good. I had 6 players, and it was all kids, which is fine. But they were like the same kids from the previous time or something like that. So it was like, if I'm going to go through a lot of effort, I want to like get it to grow. And it's like, there's some people just aren't going to respond. And that's fine, but I don't need to be a martyr and like, well, my life's on hold until, unless people show up enough. I'm like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you guys want to show up, cool. You're more than welcome to come along. But, this is my therapy session. And that's what I was actually thinking about yesterday. I said, I haven't really thought about DBA in a long time. People are putting on games like, I just, Historicon footage, like, I just don't care. I did enough of it. And it's annoying that I tried to promote something so much of my time, not like it costs a lot of money or anything, and just people didn't respond. And it's like, okay, well, not going to do I'm going to do stuff for me. So, and I have enough responsibilities and I'm pushed enough at work. I don't need to be pushed when I'm not at work. Especially by people that don't have enough on their plate at their workplace. Or it sure seems like they don't have a lot. They sure have a lot of free time. Like, they can go on vacations and shit like that. What's that? What's a vacation? Well, I won't be here next weekend, supposedly, unless things go sideways. I will be out of town taking a 1-day vacation. One additional day on Friday, so I won't be here on Friday, and I won't be here on Saturday morning either. But Sunday morning should be back to, normal. I am going to someplace, dropping my daughter off, and basically should have a whole weekend to myself. And I'm going to go hit flea markets and, not that I need any vehicles, but the last time I went to a flea market, I didn't buy anything. Sometimes it's more fun. Thank you. Sometimes it's more fun to just to look through stuff. Now, did I like how that turned out? Yeah. Yeah, the spacing on it is pretty decent. So let's finish this one. I'm not a fan of assembly lining things. Then it becomes just kind of monotonous. I remember the first time somebody encouraged me, like, this is like in 2009. Hey, you should put on a learning session for a DBA. So I did at one convention. One person showed up and they dropped their kid off who didn't really want to be there. And the kid was like 15. I mean, it wasn't like it was a 10-year-old. And he just didn't want to be there. And no one else showed up. And I've never done that again. And I'll never do it again. I'm not a babysitting service. I'm not going to raise your kid just because you can't. And the dad wasn't there. He's like, he went off and did other shit. Like, if you're there with your kid, it's different. But it's like, yeah, I'm not here. I'm not going to babysit your kid. I'm a quick learner. You only get to fuck me once. So, you know, when you're willing to volunteer for stuff, you should do whatever the fuck you want, right? Because, like, it doesn't pay enough. Like a fingernail polish type color. It's like a raspberry or something. I did use the right one, didn't I? Uh-oh. That's not a big deal if I didn't. I think it's called tomato red. No, is this the one I used? No, this one's down here. No, it is the tomato red one. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Cranberry brulee. Let's move this out. Let's hide this one so we don't have. I can see that happening. It's not a very solid red color. It's a little soft. I'd be like really disappointed with how this is looking had I not finished one already and been like, yeah, we're on the right track. All right, so we're gonna leave the last highlight for when we have everything together. All right, let's do the same thing with let's do the same thing with the white. Decent paint, horrible lid. Well, they seal well, but you get shit all over yourself when you don't want to. Is this lighter? No. I was thinking, man, I need to organize how I have this stuff in here a little bit better. Is I'd like to put all these cars like in there, but if I do that, I got to get rid of some of the stuff that's in there. I don't really want to put it in the garage, and if I did, it'd be too much stuff out there. I got all the books, and I'm like, man, maybe I should get rid of all my ancient books. I don't know. I've thought about it. My interest in ever going back and painting ancients and medieval stuff is about nil. Not because I don't enjoy doing the research or they didn't turn out where I was happy with it, but it's just, I don't want to paint 32 fucking Roman sandals in a row. You know, and if I get tired of painting something, I want to do something totally different. I'm really kind of hooked on that. It's not that they didn't turn out well. So I'm like, I looked at some pictures of my Irish the other day. I'm like, man, I really like how those guys turned out. And the Huns, I think the Huns were the last ones I did. It's just, I didn't look forward to painting the next one. And it's just something that had to be done, or you would have wasted your time painting the first one. You know, if you need 24 of them for an army, and you burn out when you paint 10, well, you don't have anything to show for it. But that's the secret for me to be happy with how these things turned out. You got to use. I got to use multiple layers. I can't just do two colors. I got to do like 5 or 6, and leave some of the bottom one through. And then it's like, yeah, this is what I like. This is what I like. I see pictures of stuff online and do things like that. Yeah. It's even more white than that. Well, we'll come back and do the final one. All right, let's do the full red, although I think I did that already. Maybe do the full red a little thicker, because this red is pretty thin. Thinner than normal. And chat gave me some interesting ideas for, doing some terrain. I may or may not pull the trigger on. It's just something to look at while you're playing the game. It really doesn't need to have any purpose whatsoever. All right, now we'll get a little bit of white. I prefer to use a little bit of white than than yellow in almost every situation. It's like a glare. And then we'll do the same with pure white, and then we'll drop the little black line in there, and then we should be done. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long. Just pure white. Maybe a little bit more thin. One thing I've noticed I'm really not a fan of doing, and I think I'd realized this when I went to the flea market and didn't buy anything. I'm not a fan of buying vehicles that are unopened, and they're on cards. They're really old, because those cards soak up a lot of, I don't know, we'll call it soak up a lot of dust. They're real dusty, and I don't really want that in my house. It wasn't until I bought that stuff off the flea market, those model kits, and the paper in them had like started breaking down, and it made it seem like everything was like really, really, really dry. That I'm like, man, I don't want this old shit in here. And this is for the black line in here. And there wasn't anything really that jumped out at me. Well, I did like actually marking it ahead of time. I felt like it was quicker. Assuming I used the correct markings. And then we'll do the little nail holes here. Okay, and now we got this one fully done. Gotta watch a stupid ass tutorial video. Well, hopefully find one that's not stupid. How'd we do? Typical. I like the new one better than the old one. It's a little brighter. Yeah, we can brighten this one up. Bam, done. Love this. Love making shit out of nothing. This is like nothing. It's hot glue and fucking sticks. You know? Excellent. Let's do the next one. Put me in, coach. Love this hobby. I'm not worried about the gaming part. I get my gaming fix doing other things. Get my gaming fix for the Xbox. That's what it's for. Just cover over these lines that I did not mark in the correct location. Not a big deal. It's not like it's the only one I have to work on. I can only work on one of these at a time, so. All right. That'll be the last one we'll work on. Stupid ass tutorial videos. Yeah, sometimes I'll watch those things. The power went out the other day, like 2 nights ago. It was terrible. We actually lost power. And I actually remembered something that I wanted to look up. It was that little board game. And just out of curiosity, I wasn't going to buy it. Unless it was like really cool. And it wasn't. That I've never played. And I heard a lot of people talk about it. And it's relatively popular. Called Formula DE. It's a little racing game. And after looking at the cars, the boards look actually really good. After looking at some of the cars and so forth, I was like, yeah, it doesn't look that exciting. Even though it's a really popular game, especially since I'm on this car racing tear. Go ahead and start it here. Got one there. It was 1.5, wasn't it? Yep, 1.5. 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9. I know that I'm on a car racing tear. If it was NASCAR, I'd never want to see NASCAR anything. It's so uncultured. No, the tracks are freaking round. Like, who the fuck wants to see that? I mean, I don't want to play a game that's like that. The cars only turn one way. Come on, man. Go ahead and mark the other one out. I'm not going to change my mind on it. It seems to save some time. That didn't take too long to paint the little stripes on one. Leave that last one still dry a little bit. I'll be back. I've been warned. We'll still do this one at once. I like doing one at a time. You have something to show for it. You still happy with your airbrush purchase there, Ben? I thought it was. I thought it wasn't going to get better. It was. It was as bad of an uphill climb as learning how to play DVA. It was really. And now I'm like, I'm not scared. I mean, I'm not the world's best airbrusher. Never will be. That's okay. But I know I'm not going to get myself in trouble. I know I'm not going to airbrush and be unhappy with the results. I'm not going to airbrush. So I'm not going to be like, hey, I should do this with the airbrush. And then when I'm done with it, I'm like, I should have fucking hand painted it. But like that doesn't happen anymore. So, I gave it, I think I talked about this a couple of months ago. I actually gave my airbrush its first real clean. Other than the normal clean and everything, I'm like, took it apart, like ran, what are those things called? Pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners are freaking great for the airbrush. Great. And just put, because, I mean, I had a couple disasters, learned how to use it. And disasters, I mean by like getting paint in places that paint shouldn't be. Like overflowing paint and stuff like that. Not anything horrible, but still, it could help, it just speeds up gumming it up. So I took the pipe cleaners and just ran it all the way through, the shaft where the needle goes through. And with hand sanitizer, just to make sure to melt everything that was through there. And I don't know if it's operating any better, but I like the fact that I got rid of a lot of paint. Like you could tell, it's like, man, this pipe cleaner isn't white anymore for sure. And that's just from, a couple of years of learning how to use the airbrush. But it was an uphill climb. It wasn't until I used that magic formula and I discovered hand sanitizer. And those two things together were instrumental. And kind of getting a clue on the air pressures. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I know what doesn't work. So every time I've used it recently, I've had positive results. But I'll never be as comfortable as I am with hand painting. There's no cleanup time with hand painting. But I think I'm going to work on at least one. Oh, and I do have something really cool. Did I bring it in? I left it in the car. I'll have to leave another session. I brought something from work that wasn't going to get used, and I had looked at it for, I want to say 2 years, and never brought it home. It's like, oh, you can use this whatever you want. And I'm not going to steal my own thunder, but it's something 3D printed. It's something 3D printed pretty crudely, but it's something that I can use for Gaslands or World War. I'm more likely to use it for Gaslands than World War II, but I think something might be a really cool terrain piece. I don't know if calling it a terrain piece is exactly accurate. But just sitting there, I figured, well, maybe I can make some magic with it. That looks about right. They don't necessarily need to be the same width. The white can be bigger than the red, can be longer than the red. Not a big deal. All right, let's bring up the red another notch. And the secret to all these layers is you got to thin your paint enough that you're not like putting it on really thick, because it takes a long time to dry and also adds thickness. And I don't particularly want to add thickness. And keeps the brushes flowing really well. And these have been my favorite brushes, these Royal and Langnickel. They're cheap brushes of a pretty decent quality. This is a 1? No, it's a 3 actually. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want it any thinner. Wouldn't be able to carry enough paint. Oh, fuck that one up a little bit. No big deal. Haven't done the white yet anyways. All right. Switch to white. I finally painted these things. and they probably look like ass on camera. They look good in person, but that little bit of rust, the rust doesn't come on great on the camera, and I like how it is. I don't feel like I need to add any more to it, so. I think what it is the lighting is really good for me. It's bad for anything camera. It's too, I think it's too bright. It's drowning everything out kind of thing. Too big of a step. That's a little bit better. I almost feel like part of me wants to I'm not going to build any more cars until I make the cards for the cars I have, which is a lot of cards to do. But I don't know if I can commit to that. But even if version 3's going to change it, I just... I mean, they may never come out with it. I mean, it could be one of those things where change your mind about coming. Depends how thirsty they are for cash. Although I don't think anybody's making any money making rules. I don't think it's anybody, man. This guy's coming out with rules and he's making money hand over fist. I don't think it's the author. Might be like the executives or something like that. The executives at Osprey. You know, one thing's for sure, getting these done in this session seems like a pretty reasonable, achievable task. Then I have kind of a clean slate to do something different. All right, let's add a little bit of white to this. Just a little bit. I don't know if I would have ever picked up this hobby if acrylic paints hadn't been created. I can't imagine doing this with like thinner you have to pay for. That alone. I mean, there's some enamel paints that are worth a damn, but they didn't used to be. All right, time for the little black outline, and then this one's done. And now this one's done. I'm gonna go make another coffee. I'll be right back. Still watching a stupid ass video? Some tutorial videos are really good, and some not so good. Maybe it'll appeal to somebody, you know. I don't mind videos as long as they're not trying to push an agenda. Man, it is freaking cold in here. Man. I mean, we don't drop it to less than 71, but it's like, you know, if I was like moving stuff around, I'd probably get warmed up, but I'm just kind of just sitting here just putzing along. I almost made an Amazon purchase of something that I didn't have, and then I realized that I think I do have something. These old pair of nips, whatever you want to call them, these are older than I am, and they're not very sharp at all. I probably could try resharpening them. That's probably worth doing. And so I'm like, all right, well, let me go and see, because I don't want to run all the way down to, what's the name of that place that has the cheap tools? Harbor Freight. And I realized, I think I actually do have a big cutter. It's just out in the garage. That's how big it is. It's probably 3 times bigger than this. It's not massive, but, you know, it's enough to, like, cut axles. So I think I'll give that a shot next time I need to cut an axle. And I think what I'm going to do is the next time I need to expand an axle, I'm going to take some of this tubing that I have, some of this aluminum tubing, cut a piece of it and use that for the middle, and then glue the 2 ends in. We'll see how that works. I don't do a whole lot of that. Most of the time, the axle is close enough to the size that you need to. You don't need to do that kind of tinkering. But I'm not going to buy like aftermarket axles and stuff like that. They're too expensive. You know, they want like $10 for like 20 of them or something. I'm like, that's way too fucking, you know, for like, so 10 cars, like $1, they double the price of the car. I'm like, that's not a good value. And you got to wait for them to come in. That's the big problem. It's like, all right, I want to do one now. Well, you got to wait for it to come in. Like, well, shit. Okay. Let's go ahead and mark this second one too. Here, 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, 1.5, 3, 4.5. Yeah, that works better. 3, 4.5. And this one's already marked, right? Yep. All right, back to the bigger brush. Not that big. Yeah, these are a really good value. They're like $4 or $6 for like, they're like 50 cents a piece or something like that. They're less than $1 a piece. That's my kind of pricing. No, that's what I call peace of mind pricing. Something goes wrong with a brush, you didn't invest a shitload of money in it anyways. Peace of mind pricing. Or you're really frugal. No, I just don't like taking risks on something that is uncontrollable. Watches. There's some watches that are beautiful. I'm not buying a $300 watch. I'm not. You get a scratch on it, I'll lose my fucking mind. You know, you scratched it, you're just trying to live your fucking life, right? And shit happens. You know, you try to be careful with things and things happen. I don't want to that's a lot of money, you know? That's a lot of money. I had a $300 watch or a 350 or something like that. And I had it for probably 10 years. And then it just crapped out. It's a Swiss Army watch. It was all stainless, brushed stainless. And wouldn't work. Took it to get it fixed. Wasn't scratched up or anything. I mean, he took care of it. It's like, the fancier watch. Like I wouldn't wear it. It wouldn't go to work. And we took it to a watch place and they said something like, okay, well, the computer in it or something like the computer needed to be replaced, even though it's all analog. I don't do digital watches. And it was like $400. It cost more than another watch. So I priced that kind of watch out recently because I went and wanted to get a couple of watches. The ones that I've gotten used, because I like the Swiss Army watches, but I'm not paying $200 for a watch, or 300 or 4 or 5, or I'm not. And I bought 3 or 4 of them of this style that I liked that was prevalent in the 90s. I didn't have one in the 90s, but for like $30. And they just needed a new battery and had a scratch or two. Nothing too bad. You wouldn't be able to tell them. And I've had them for over 10 years, but they're dying and they died on me. So I'm like, well, let's see how much new Swiss Army watches. Not a fancy one, but just like an everyday. I'm not paying that kind of fucking money. No, I don't. It's just about principle. It's just about I've been a poor student before. It's hard to get that out of your system. It's hard to get out of your system. I'm not spending $600 on something and then you lose your job kind of thing. Not that I'm worried about that, but I'm just saying that it's hard to get that out of your system. So it's good to not have these habits where you're like, let me go out to have drinks and $200 later after having drinks. I'm like, that's bad habits you have to try to undo. And now with the hobby stuff, you bought a lot of stuff. Yeah, I bought a lot of $1 things. I bought 12 $1 things. That's $12 and you got to buy 12 different things. And I still, when I go to the store, I fill up the basket. This car's cool. This one's cool. Don't have one of those. That's kind of cool. And then I go and do I really want this? Nah, put it back on the peg. Because I put up half the things back on the peg. And yes, I organize the whole area up, and I find it. That's one of the things about work in retail I actually liked. I liked restocking the shelves. Now, I also am not there all day and realize after I restocked everything and made everything look pretty, a couple people come by and dishevel everything. That would be a little discouraging, but I want to look through everything, so I might as well straighten things up as I go. I don't mind doing it. It's fun. But these car packages are made poorly. They're made in a way that as you're sliding them forward, they're off balance, and it doesn't take long for them to fall, and you're making noise, back there. It's almost like this needs to be deeper, so it's got, for when it rocks a little bit, it doesn't just fall off the thing. But limited lifetime warranty. Purchased in a single pack, will be free from defects in material or workmanship. Why would they bother having that? Like, I want my $1 back. I had a conversation a couple of months ago when we'd gone to, maybe it was only about a month ago, and we'd gone to the dollar store. We'd gone to Dollar Tree or whatever, and I had picked up a couple of cars. I said, yeah, I'm gonna maybe return these. So, well, how much do they cost? Like, it's a dollar. It's a Dollar Tree, man. It costs like $1 and change. And she's like, they're that cheap? I said, yep, they're that cheap. Better warranty than some full size cars, no doubt. But I mean, like, why go through the trouble? Why go through the trouble of all that? So I was reading a post that somebody made. I don't know whether there's truth to this. I don't care. But I'm sure there's some truth to it about people going and receiving medical care in another country from the United States. Because, and it was dental care is what it said, because dentists are so expensive here. Well, if you brush your fucking teeth, they won't be, but anyhow. If you go into like Mexico, like it was cheaper to like fly to Mexico, stay, all weekend, take a couple days off, have a mini vacation, and have them do whatever root canal or whatever you needed to be done than having it done here in the United States. And one of the first comments on it is all because of attorneys. There's no fucking attorneys that they don't go out, I guess, I don't know, but like, why do you have to have all this lawsuit shit? Lifetime limited warranty, there's all those, okay, what else is on there? Trademarks, trade dress owned by Mattel, manufactured, imported, or distributed by Mattel Europa BV out of somewhere in the Netherlands. Made in Malaysia. Warning, not suitable for children under 36 months. Small parts may be generated. Better put that on there, you get sued. Need assistance? Why would you need assistance? It's a fucking dollar car, dude. Does it have the cute little elephant? Does not. It's not one of the Malaysian ones that have a little elephant. I think almost all the Hot Wheels are made in Malaysia and all the Matchboxes are made in Thailand. What is that? And there's one with the big wheels. I'm sure that's made in Qingha. Ah, yes. Let's make lots of fucking noise. Spin Master Limited, Toronto. It's not made in Toronto. There's no way this is made in Canada. Yeah, made in Qingha. Yeah, it has screws. Like traditional screws where you can unscrew it. So, I don't know, this body actually would probably be okay to put on something else. This like 1940s type vehicle. It's not like we're going to throw the body away. I don't throw any of the pieces away. That's just being stupid and wasteful. Better warranty than some vehicles. I rented a Ford Bronco a couple weeks ago when I went the last weekend it wasn't last weekend, it was the week before, or was it the last weekend? I don't remember. One of those two. And nobody dislikes well, that's not true. I don't like domestic vehicles. I don't like the styling of them. They're not reliable. It's a shame. They should be the best vehicles around. And they just aren't for a multitude of different reasons. But usually the styling is an issue too. Like, you could lease something. Like, it's not going to crap out in 3 years, you hope. And if it does, it's covered by warranty. But usually the styling on domestic vehicles just doesn't appeal to me on the inside. But the Bronco looked good on the inside because it's very Jeepish. And the Jeep looks good. But something like that, just like, I just don't trust the reliability, especially if it's some kind of funky engine. You know, it comes in like a turbo four. It's a four-cylinder engine in a relatively large, boxy vehicle. It's relatively large. It wasn't super sluggish, but it's like you're putting a lot of like wear and tear on. I mean, my car has a turbo four, but it's not a very. It's the size of a fucking Corolla. You know, it's not like it's a very big vehicle. This is like boxy. I don't know which one it had, and they also have a turbo six. And I'm like, I read an article one time that it leads me to think that American vehicles that don't have a V8 are very susceptible to have engine problems. You should never have an engine problem in a vehicle. If you change the oil regularly, like you should, you should get 200,000 miles out of every engine. You should. I mean, there's no reason it should, like, blow it up. You know, you're not going to modify. You're not going to turn it into a funny car or anything like that. You should get 200,000 miles out of the engine or more. We had this Nissan that had, I think, almost 300,000 miles on it, original engine, and it was an overtaxed engine. But you got to do oil changes. You got to do basic maintenance on the engine. My 60,000 mile thing came up on my car. You fucking do it. You got to eat $1,200. Either that, or you're gonna have to buy a new car. You know. So, and it's stuff you do preventative, not like, oh, it's burning oil. Let's do this now. Well, it's too late. You know. And but putting some funky engine on it. Anyway, so I was actually kind of. I didn't feel embarrassed driving. It's just the inside. There's several American vehicles look pretty good on the outside. Challengers, for instance. I think Challengers look incredibly great. You look inside and it's too retro for me. It's too like, this is like 1974. Like, things don't look like way anymore. It just looks odd. But you guys have no more domestic vehicles in the UK, right? You don't have they don't make them anymore. Right? I mean, you don't have like a Ford Escort sized vehicle or sedans of a reason. I'm not talking about, SUVs or Land Rovers or shit like that. I'm talking about, normal people vehicles. No, I don't consider a Land Rover a normal people vehicle. Vehicles, that don't cost that kind. A $30,000-$40,000 vehicle. They don't make those anymore in the UK, do they? When I went to London, it was like pure Toyota and Kias and Hyundais. That's what it was all. It was all Toyotas, Kias, and Hyundais. Land Rover. That's for the Normans. The Normans drive stuff like that. I'm not one of those upper class people. Vehicles that cost more than 60,000. I don't have a $60,000. I think the most expensive vehicle we've ever had is. I'm not sure it's even been 40. It's just too much money. It's just too much payment. Who the fuck wants that? And you got to pay insurance on top of that. we've rented some fancier vehicles than I would ever buy. I'm like, okay, well, that was nice. You know? I think next time I go to Europe and we're going to rent a car, I'm gonna stand my ground and go, no, I want a stick shift. But then she can't drive it at all. Not that she drove it at all, but you can't rent stick shifts here in the United States because we're pussies in that way. What else are we pussies about? Meat markets. We can't. Although I didn't see anything nasty in Spain. Spain was like, at least where we went, almost the same with cleanliness. One of those meat markets. When you go like a meat market in like Mexico, like we can't handle that. We can't handle like carcasses and shit in the air, and you guys can't handle gun shows. Oh man, you're back. Better warn you. Okay, you're back. Really hope nobody gets stuck with me in the apocalypse, because I can't ever do anything right. Well, all right. Let me give you some words of encouragement, because I fuck up things all the time. I am not handy. If the apocalypse requires finding a stud in a wall, we're done. I can't fucking find it. With a stud finder, it just doesn't work right. We wouldn't get lost. You can't be good at everything. And you got to know your limitations. And it's okay to know what you're not good at. A lot of people don't admit that. I know so many people that make fun of me because I can't multitask. And I really can't. And I'm okay with it. I embrace it. Because when I do one thing, I do it better than most people. But I cannot multitask. And a lot of people can't. And, because if you do multiple things at once, but you have a high error rate, you really can't multitask. You're just pretending. I couldn't repair cars or houses. Everything I do has the mark of the Hoffman. A lot of the things that have to do with repairs or something like that, I feel like a very important part of it is realizing in your mind how long it's going to take and not get discouraged when you fall short of your expectations. Because you're like, okay, I can do this. I've watched the video. This should take 30 minutes. It's like airbrushing, right? What do I say? Don't make any fucking plans. Oh, this should be easy. You're fucked. You shouldn't have said that. Just like, this is going to take, we're going to do this and it might take a while to do it. But don't put any don't put any expectations on how long something's going to take. It's done, but it has tons of mistakes. As a certain someone at work says, you just try to be 1% better each day. Or what I like to say is, just don't make the same mistake a second time. That's all. We're always going to make mistakes. Be honest with yourself. That's why I don't like going to these places that are like, car shows or things. Everybody on there is like, nobody ever makes any fucking mistakes, and you can't, this freaking attitude. Just got to admit we're fucking human, right? And I'm really bad at finding studs. Like, as bad as, like, Algebra 2. I don't know if I did Algebra 2 now, if I'd be good at it. I wouldn't like it because it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. Numbers doesn't mean anything. I always liked math that had, like, real value. Like, you could look at the problem and go, okay, the number's going to be... Well, you get the answer and you go, it's obviously not that. Any math that you can't do that, you're like, nah, I'm not interested in. If anyone rips you for multitasking, say you can do it during work. Everyone can take a dump, scroll their phone, and get paid all at the same time. I don't take a dump at work. I think it's happened maybe 5 times in over 32 years. And it's because, it's either that or you're going to wear it. I just don't need to go. It's great, everybody can multitask. Well, what's your error rate? And I get really frustrated when I make errors, like stupid mistakes. I get frustrated with myself, So I immediately go I go to the other end. I can't multitask because I can't have the level of precision. I like being precise with the stuff that I do. I don't want to half-ass things. So if I have to go back and fix my stuff, that's just I can't multitask. Not that I can't multitask, but I'm sure some of those people that, I can multitask really well. Well, those people may not be able to prioritize really well. I'm really good at prioritizing stuff at work. Okay, you have these 10 tasks. All right, I got to do that one first because that affects the other ones being, if I don't do that one first, then it's a snowball effect, that kind of stuff. As they used to call it in school, and I never understood what it meant, was critical path. I never processed what critical path is. I'm really good at critical path at work. I'm probably better than anybody on my level at it. Because if you're not good at it, guess what? You create more fucking work for yourself. So, and I'm really good about writing notes, like a to-do list, and cross shit off as you do it. Because then you feel good about it. Because then you're like, man, you're just spinning your wheels. You at least go, man, today was a motherfucker, but I crossed a lot of things off. And it seems like it's a waste of time, but it helps you do things better and you feel better about it. So it's not a waste of time. And if it's something that you've been putting off and you have to write it back on the list every day, you're like, fuck this. I'm going to complete this. I'm tired of writing the same fucking thing every damn day. Right? Knock that thing out. So that's what I mean by I can't multitask. I can't multitask and have a near 100% success rate. If you're multitasking and you get it right 75% of the time, for me that's like you can't multitask. That's 25% of the stuff you're doing you have to go back and fix. No, absolutely unacceptable. You're gonna have to make up for this morning. Been crushing it with writing lately. Yikes. So I might focus on that instead of this stupid thing with 36 screws that I have to use an Allen wrench for. Just chilling and being tired and ashamedly thinking of maybe painting bolt action. Does anybody play bolt action in 15 millimeter? I just wouldn't do. I mean, have this aversion to it, but I would not. I'm not doing shit in 28 millimeter for multiple reasons. One of the biggest one of them is space, cost, and there's enough people doing 28 millimeter. Sometimes you got to do whatever you want to do to get a win. It's a weekend. You should feel good about whatever it is that you do. You know, I hate to sound like somebody who's like needs to be on antidepressants. I'm not on any. Speaking of which, I got to go take my pills. Not on antidepressants. That's the people that go fucking crazy, man. Start shooting random people in and out. Blood pressure shit. But I hate to sound like, somebody needs to be on antidepressants, but you need to do things throughout the day to keep your own, I feel like I'm kicking ass meter up. It's good, It's good. You need to hang out with people that encourage you, that aren't fucking negative about it. It's just. And if writing is what does that, this is what does it for me. I do this first thing in the morning, and I have a good day. It's like I have something good to show for it. Break free from the rigidity of history and do silly stuff, have a few squads of Straf Battalion with some Fallschirmjäger backing him up. I was looking at some 40K battle reps, and I just kind of liked the idea of that old era with a World War II skin on it. Well, I just can't do it with World War II, because it's my religion. Do what you want to do with it, I wouldn't like 40K for a lot of reasons. The main reason is probably most of the players. Sorry, there's some uber freaking nerds and shit that play that crap. I just don't like the storyline. I don't like to be, this is the storyline you're stuck with. If I did fantasy, for instance, I wouldn't do Warhammer shit. I would create my own world using that Atlantis thing, or at least spin it a little bit. I think that's, has some quote unquote real life shit in it, but this whole thing that's structured a certain way, I just, like Gaslands, I don't like the storyline of Gaslands. It's irrelevant. You could do whatever you want. I mean, some people do stuff like Mario Kart. Well, I don't like Nintendo games. They're way too non-violent. What's the opposite of violent video games? Pussyfoot video games. I don't like Nintendo games. They're too pussyfoot. I'm a pacifist every day. I need to play violent shit. Tons of people play Bolt Action 15. Sometimes it plays better at that scale. I bet it does. If I didn't have to paint any miniatures for Bolt Action, I would play it to socialize. Also, guess what caused a power outage in my village on Thursday night? What did? Someone stuck their little Jimmy in the electric box, or migrants taking the copper. Migrants taking the copper. It's just, if you're going to commit a crime, just take the stuff you want, right? Don't take something to try to resell it to get money to go buy the stuff you want. What's your ultimate goal? I want a Maserati. Go steal the fucking Maserati. Copper wire. I think that happened in Spain. Either when my daughter was there and we had already left, something happened. The train had to stop because something happened with the copper wire. I just vaguely remember that. Just take the shit you want. I mean, if you're going to commit a crime, why have to commit two crimes? You know, steal something and then sell a stolen item. Just go get what you need, you know? A cow somehow got stuck in the wire and pulled the cable down. Cow was fine, but very vocal afterwards. Kind of like the cat on the secret cow level, Diablo 2. Moo, 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 moo. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. With the halberds that would chase you around. I think that was Diablo 2. It might have been 3. I don't know. And when you knock one of them down, and it was just people making moo sounds. It was an inside joke. I could hear it whining. Oh, so this happened really close to you. As you walked the dog, and all the house alarms went off at once. If I had to raise my own beef, I wouldn't eat beef. Sorry, that's as PETA as I get. Yes, I said PETA. We actually had somebody at work I overheard that got busted for soliciting child. Not anybody I work with, but I don't even know who they were. They said me, yeah, it's this guy. I'm like, I've never seen him before, and we don't have that many employees. He got busted for in a sting for going to meet a 15-year-old girl, which I guess there's nothing wrong with if you're also 15. I'm just saying there's a difference, you know. But an adult, that's just like, yeah, somebody's not programmed properly. That shouldn't cross your mind. We have this flurry of things in our area where there are these vigilantes that are taking down flock cameras. I'm not sure that I know exactly what a flock camera is, but it seems like it's a passive AI camera that, you know, can give speeding tickets or I don't know, whatever. It's surveillance shit, right? So it's like the stuff that you guys are going through in UK, but we still have guns. But anyways, the people that are like knocking them down, you know, like, screw you, big man, and knocking the thing down. I mean, it's like, yeah, well, they can see who does it before they do that kind of a thing. And I'm fine for having flock cameras, but if you're going to do all that, then we need to get rid of the cops hiding in the bushes. Like, if you're going to give people automatic tickets, then the cops can just go, you know, like, fight fucking crime, like they're supposed to be, instead of eating their jelly donut behind a bush, waiting for somebody to go 3 miles an hour over the speed limit, you know? When you worked at DG, one of the reps for a soda company, let me guess which one. You have two choices. It's the RC Cola guy. Damn it, I got it wrong. Had ended up on the news. He started working at a gas station to help the owners catch a thief, but he became the thief by stealing lotto. Yeah, I think it's people that are underworked. I think people that are underworked, that they're not at their job, they're not worn out by their job enough, like have enough energy to go cause problems. Like, I just want to be left alone after work. You know, like, I don't want to see anybody cause any problems. I don't want to encounter anyone at lunch. You know, I don't want to, you know, run into another human being at lunchtime. Just leave me the fuck alone. Speaking of DG and dollar store, I went to the dollar store yesterday, and it was actually, this has never happened before and probably will never happen again. Was a fairly attractive girl working there. Now, she was maybe a year older than my daughter, and you know, normal looking, other than someone at the last time I went to a dollar store with my daughter a couple months ago, and this cashier lady, if she would have been on fire, she wouldn't have moved any faster. I mean, it was painful to see somebody move with that little interest in taking care of something. It's exhausting, you know. You play bolt action in 20 millimeter. That's right, the one true scale. Using the original ranges, it's probably better. It's the main game in my club, but I don't play there as they're generally practicing for tournaments that seem to be endless and all over Scotland. And the problem with those tournaments, the biggest problem I would have with those tournaments is I ain't fighting British against British. That's stupid. Or British versus Soviet. It's just dumb. Like, you got to keep the same matchups. And I don't want to do 1939 Germans versus, 1944 Italians. Although that might actually be more balanced. I don't know, but I don't know how they play it. I'm not a tournament player. The only reason I even did tournaments was with DBA was because, well, that's what people did, and it was a way to play with your own army. And you got to play with your own army, otherwise why the fuck are you building them, right? But I'm not a tournament player by trade. I win by being happy with how my stuff turns out that I built, that I paint. Well, you're just competitive. I'm competitive anyways. But, not to the point where it's like, especially with this, like, I could do this or this. Well, this could be more exciting and could be a lot more stupid. That guy looks like a stupid driver. Let's do that. Not like ridiculously stupid, like, suicide mission, but it's like, if I'm going to go down, let's make a big bang kind of thing. And honestly, I kind of enjoy that. 20 millimeter, the one true scale. Heard somebody say that one time. I mean, the only reason I got into 20 millimeter was because of those Dave Alsop figures. And, it was the same scale of, 172nd, 176 scale stuff that I had, figures that I had as a kid. So there's that nostalgic tie-in. Just like some people are like, I do 28s because I grew up playing Warhammer. Well, I do 20 millimeter because I grew up with those freaking Airfix figures, the MPC figures. Hey, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. I align with you Europeans more than Americans. I'm not. I've told you before. And I think you guys believe me by now. I'm not anti-European. I went over there and I felt, it's my continent of origin. I'm not really a fan of rules that are created by people that also manufacture the miniatures. I think that this is a conflict of interest. I think it's a conflict, and I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up with you either made you either made miniatures or you made the rules, but you didn't do both. I don't know. It's like separation of church and state. Separation of manufacturing miniatures and rule systems. I don't know. It just no comprende. I mean, I know why they do it, but I want a good, just like when we go to the movies, we want to see a good movie. The people that make movies, they want to make a buck. All right, how many of you people seen the new Odyssey? You think it couldn't be a worse movie than a more historical movie than well, technically it's not historical. Iliad is, but the Odyssey technically is not historical. And you think there couldn't be a movie based on history worse than Napoleon? Guess again. I won't see it. That's just stupid. Like, who do you take me for? What do you take me for? Haven't seen it yet. I want to, but I'm waiting for people to shut up about it so I can go to the movie theater with an open mind. All right, you have to admit, if Mitch and I and you went to go see it, we'd have a blast. We'd have a blast just ripping it. And I'm all for making movies that have a greater role for people of different skin tones. I'm all for it because yeah, there's a time period when they put those movies in, but put them in a setting that's appropriate to their fucking skin color. I mean, or skin tone. It doesn't make any sense to do that. Like, we don't have enough superheroes from India, so fucking create a new one. Not like our new Superman is going to be from Mumbai. Like, just create another fucking superhero. What would an Indian superhero be? I know what his superpower would be. I mean, you're pissing two people off. You're pissing off people that are like, oh, you're changing my original character. And then you're pissing off the people that you're supposedly helping because you're giving them a hand-me-down character. Like, why don't they deserve something new instead of some fucking baggage? You're tired of the culture wars. Yep. You like Nolan? I don't think I like Nolan. I don't think I like Nolan because he's done these and the same thing with Ridley Scott. I mean, Ridley Scott's Gladiator. I know Gladiator's not perfect to history. It's a great movie. Between the storyline, the casting, the cinematography, and the story, it's a good movie. But they do these things where it's like, people in Hollywood are just fucking weird, man. And, I didn't like Dunkirk. I didn't hate Dunkirk, but it was like, come on, man. There's very few real directors left in Hollywood. One day they'll kick them all out. I don't know. I don't see any reason to go to movie theaters anymore. It's too expensive. Most things suck. Sorry, they do. Most things suck. We have access to, most of us have access to pretty good entertainment systems at home. The only advantage on the movie theater, it's the only place I can go watch a movie and not need subtitles. Like, I hear well. Like, I understand. I mean, unless you got like Mark Wahlberg or somebody who mumbles like that, whispering shit. I don't know what the fuck he says. But other than that, it's just, it's a high failure rate for a lot of money. I can't think of any director that's like, oh, it's, which director I actually liked a lot of their stuff, but even then they have made dogs. I don't know the last one that they did. The guy that did, the French dude that did all those movies, the guy that did The Professional, and he did all the Taken movies, whatever his name is. He does all those gunplay type, vigilante type movies. Or he did many of them. I like him, whatever his name is. I can't think of him right now. But he also did like The Fifth Element or something like that, which is like a shit show. When I saw it one time, I'm not saying that shit again. Whatever his name is. So it's hard to get, everything right. Remember, they're just movie people trying to make a buck, It's because it's all slop. You're not allowed to use that word. You're not allowed to use that 4-letter word anymore. Every time I see it's like, oh, that's AI slop. I'm like, okay, you guys are all reading from like your same Bible that's being sent to you, and like use a different word like trash or something like that. I could explain the current state of the movie industry and why it's been so bad lately, but there's better things to talk about. Yeah. They just don't make subject matter things that really interest me to begin with. All right. Let's switch back to red. And I'm really tired of, a movie that you see and like they're spending half the budget, it seems, or more. It's probably more on just paying these well-known actors that, in my opinion, take away from the experience of the film, because then you associate them with other roles and they're just like awkward. Like if you put somebody in a role that you're really familiar with in a different role, and it's like hard to get that away from you. It's like. Isn't Odysseus played by Matt Damon? And Odysseus was supposed to be like really crafty. Matt Damon doesn't do really crafty guys well. He might be okay in that role. I don't know. It's not really a point of something that interests me to go check out. That Formula One movie, which I've seen about half of it. I'm like, I don't want to see something else with Brad Pitt in it. Now, he's not too bad, and I'm not a Brad Pitt fan because he's just kind of like, that's not the reason I haven't finished watching the movie. And the Bardem guy doesn't seem like that much of a child molester in the movie. I know he's not a child molester in real life, but he gives me those child molestery vibes. The creepiest Spaniard. That's what I should call him. The creepiest Spaniard. I'm sure there's creepier, but they're not in movies. I just haven't gotten around to finish watching the movie because there's too much of that, the bullshit, unbelievable crap that goes on in it. But Actually, the best role that I think that I've seen. Who did I just say? Yeah, see, I can't think about. I don't think about him all day, or at all. Anyways, I gotta look it up. It's short-term memory, man. Brad Pitt. The best role I've seen Brad Pitt in was Burn After Reading, where he was playing that gym rat. I think he did that great. That I can think of right now. And I don't dislike him. He's just kind of like generic-y. Like corporate slop. Corporate has just turned into being such a fuck name in the last 30 years for me. Just like, I wasn't anti-corporate, but it's just, there's so many corporate things that are just dog shit, you know? All of our favorite movies are what is called the $90 million movie or mid-budget movie. Hollywood stopped making those because the investment return on a $300 million movie is higher. There's one Matt Damon movie I like, and I would suggest to you because the humor is good and it reminds me of old comedy humor and isn't afraid to offend. Okay, which one is it? I like old comedy humor. And I don't dislike him as a person. I mean, I thought he was... I thought Ford versus Ferrari was a great movie. And I don't even like Fords, or Ferraris really in particular. You know? I thought it was a great movie. My daughter and I watched it. Did we watch it at movie theater? I think we watched it at movie theater. And it also had the guy, what's that guy's name that's in John Bernthal? I don't like John Bernthal. He might be a nice guy in real life. I just don't. He has a look that's very difficult to have him fit in various different roles. You know, in Spanish, we would say "tiene una cara que no se usa," and I'm not going to translate that for you, but. What movie could it be? I'll watch it. You have some decent recommendations. I just prefer independent movies where you don't know the actor because other people need a chance, you know? All right, let's do the thin black line. You mean the thin red line? No, I need to watch that again. And no, I'm one of the 75% of the people that hated that movie. But I'm willing to watch that. I don't want to, I see a war movie, I want to see it for tactics and equipment. I don't want to see it for anything else. I don't want to learn history from it. I don't want, personal feelings or this makes me feel like war. It's fucking hell. We all know that, right? But I want to see like fucking tanks and shit like that, like enveloping like a building and like, laying suppressive. That's the kind of shit I want to see, Downsizing, okay. That's a relatively new movie, isn't it? Has some sexual humor, so it might be better to watch with a wife than the daughter. Okay. Yeah, it's... And I'm actually not... I don't want to see that stuff with the daughter, and I think she's more freaked out about it than I am. But she's definitely more... I couldn't watch anything even remotely awkward with my parents. First of all, I would have played it off like I didn't understand what it meant. And, yeah. Downsizing. That's a relatively... Oh, that's not the movie with what's her name in it, who I find intolerable. I'd still watch it, though, based on your recommendation. That's not the movie with... Let's see if it's 2017. See, 2017 to me is still a relatively new movie. Shrink Himself. Okay, who's in this movie? I don't like Christoph Waltz. I'm sorry. I like Jason Sudeikis, but I think he's probably an asshole in real life, but I could be too. No, I was thinking that movie. Isn't there like a downsizing movie or something like that with a shrinking person? But it's Elizabeth Banks, and my wife and I don't like Elizabeth Banks. I mean, she's not intolerably bad, but like, oh, it's Elizabeth Banks. I don't want to see that, kind of thing. Yeah, 2017. That's yesterday. Sorry. It's actually PC. What do you mean PC? Pre-COVID. Oh, I said it. Shit. Well, I made it through the season on the Formula One Drive to Survive through the COVID episodes, and I didn't lose my mind watching people with masks. It was okay. They didn't they didn't make a huge deal out of it, so I found it okay. We got we're almost at the end of season 6, so we got 2 more seasons to watch in like a week and a half. We need to be caught up by the time the daughter goes back to college. But one thing I realize is I'm never going to be a fan. I'm never going to be one of those people that's like, here's somebody that I watch on TV. Ooh, let me clamber over other people to have my picture taken with them, or hug them, or you know get their attention. It's like I just don't get that. That's just not in me. Would it be cool to go somewhere and be like, hey, I was at this place, and this other person that everybody knows was also here. Let me take a photo with them, and then cool. Have a nice day, sir. Like that would be it, just as a memento. Just like the same way that's like, okay, I played in a DBA tournament and I won it. Okay, so here's this little plaque, although I have none of them up, of just a reminder of something that happened that was kind of cool. That's it. But to be like insane, or I don't get it. It's not in my personality. Just the same way that I'm not a gambler. I don't, like I gotta, it's not in my psyche, you know. During COVID, I don't care if someone wears a mask, but when I see a room nowadays filled with neckbeards and masks, I turn around. Well, I just ignore them. I just see through them, you know. I mean, we had to wear them even if you didn't want to, you know. But people are fucking nasty. I can't. There's so many. You go to a public restroom, and I don't really like looking around in a public restroom. If you know what I'm saying, like you go in and you do your plumbing thing, and you fucking leave. And there's so many people that don't wash their fucking hands in a public restroom. It's like that's what the problem is. People are just fucking nasty. Okay, so we're good with this. Let's put a couple little dots for the bolt here. Okay. Man, that wood turned out nice. Just simple. I gotta take a photo of this. My wife said, "Man, you don't give yourself enough credit." I said, "No, I'm just saying anybody can do this. It just takes time. It takes time and desire." Let's see if this looks representative of. No, it's out of fucking focus. And this is kind of a rush job. It may not be everybody's style, but, you know, I mean, I see that and I'm like, that makes me happy. Because if I saw somebody else do something like that, I'd be like, that is really fucking cool. Making something look like wood that's not made of wood. Well, technically it is made of wood, but you know what I mean. Not in that same scale, you know. First time looking at what you're doing today, they're looking good. Okay, well, you know, this is just accompaniment. You know, I don't do this so people can, you know, suck me off, so to speak. It's just so I have somebody to talk about and I stay on task. So, yeah. No, they're looking pretty consistent. And I may do a corner piece. I don't know that I can't round it. I can't round it because that's going to take a lot of like effort. It just isn't worth it. But I could make like a piece that was like, you know, like a corner or something like that. Or not necessarily 90 degrees, but that's what I should do. I should do chicanes. I should do death chicanes. So paint something like a chicane, but like put fucking spikes in it or something like that. Like if you go off the track, it is much more than just a rumble strip. Death chicanes. Chicane. Yeah, if I wanted people to be like really, oh, people got to be really impressed. I just wouldn't do anything live because then I could be like one of those people that just like supposedly never makes any mistakes. Like, dude, I make mistakes all the fucking time, and I'm okay with it. You know, like I'm human. You know, shit happens. I don't want to make mistakes, but you know, shit happens. Yeah, this one's actually a little lower here on purpose. I put it at an angle. Death chicane. Yeah, except those have to be rounded. I don't want to cut wood. It gets weird when you start cutting it at weird things. Well, maybe I'll go somewhere and make a. I don't need a whole bunch of some curvy pieces to put them on the inside and put spikes or some shit like that. I don't really want to do them, but then you come up with a name like Death Chicane. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. that sounds. that sounds like some epic fuckery is coming your way, you know. Just say his guys are too stupid to understand arcs and circumferences. Could be. It's just difficult to cut. So I've got something. I got your attention. I'm going to go grab it. This is something that's been sitting at work for a couple of years, maybe 3. And it was offered for me to bring it home, and I hadn't done it until yesterday. I finally did it. And I got to show you this. And it's something that's 3D printed that I didn't 3D print. They 3D printed there. And it's pretty crude, but you'll see when I bring it. Let me go grab it. It's in the car in the garage. All right. You didn't like those bendable ones I sent you? Yeah, they were okay. I just don't want to wait for shit in the mail. that's the only reason why. I really like making shit out of nothing. I mean, this is basically just fucking sticks. So, like if I was doing the inside of a turn, there's not that much. It's almost like I need to herd people, not necessarily these sharp turns, but I may make one just to. So this has been sitting. I mean, I could taste the dust. This has been sitting in the office a long time, and this is the 3D printed. It is 3D printed, extremely crudely. So warning. And it's a bridge. It's a bridge of. It's going to be probably the correct size for 20 millimeter. I don't know whether to, and what I mean by pretty crudely, it's pretty crude. Okay, it doesn't matter. I think you could just cover it up with like something that, but this is the size of it, and I got two sides of it. And it's expandable. Then I've got a lot of these sections in the middle. Now, they don't interlock or anything. You'd have to frickin' glue them. And I can go really wide. I don't think I would make it removable. I just need to pick what fucking size I'm going to make it. And the problem is like, all right, but do I want to do this for World War II? If you end up making one for yourself, use that foam I use for buildings. It bends and is cheap. Oh, with foam core. Okay. That's what you use your AI for. You got to think about that. Yeah. So, I would have to. Hold on, see if I may have to move this in a different way so that it doesn't close upon me. Okay, this end here is a little too sharp, so I'd have to like extend it out. But this could work for like a freaking ramp, and it's tall enough a car can go underneath. So figure out what size I want to make it, epoxy these pieces together, put a road bed on it. It's a lot of fucking work. I'll use it eventually, but I'm not in a hurry to use it right now. But it's been sitting around for, I think it's probably better for Gaslands than World War II, because who knows when the fuck I'm going to use it for World War II. Or like, oh, that's representing that certain bridge. The sides wouldn't be that tall, right? Like, just make it some make-believe bullshit. Yeah, the road bed would have to be like here. But I've got, width-wise, it can be about like this fucking wide, like maybe 8 inches wide. Because I've got, well, what are they? Say they're 3/4, say they're 20 millimeter sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can go 200 millimeters wide. So yeah, it's about 8 inches. 8 inches wide with this on either side of it. I think probably, you need to have it some restrictive, but might be a way to get cars to the other side of something. Yeah, kind of like a bridge of a highway or tunnel. And the height of it is fine unless you've got a big vehicle. In which case, you can't go underneath it. Anyways, I've been sitting at the office a long time. And they're just going to throw it away. That's stupid. I'm sure I can make something cool out of it. That'd just be a several weekend project. So, again, not something I would buy, but death chicanes. Rumble strip from hell. Anyways, I finally brought that home yesterday. I've been sitting, been like, hey, you can use this if you want. But the roadbed's not the problem. The problem is the sides. I'm going to have to build something to cover it up, and it could take a while. But, you know, with hot glue and epoxy, not a problem. Probably epoxy the width together, so that's never going to move. And then use hot glue for everything else. You know, it's like, well, hot glue's not very durable. Well, you need to pick these things up carefully anyways. You don't need to be like ham-fisting shit. You know, you could also put textured foam blocks at the bottom to raise it up. Could be a lot of things. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a little mini ramp on either end. That's fine. You know, and we got coating to coat it with, you know, so it all looks like the same finish. I think be okay. Of course, it's got to have graffiti on it. Not going to have one of those bridges without graffiti. You know. I guess I should hand paint that spread anarchy, and then cross through it. Said, "Don't tell me what to do." You know, one of my favorite things I've ever seen on the internet. Got spray painted, you know, spread anarchy, and then somebody else crossed through it another color. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah, doesn't hurt anything. Might be more effort than it's worth. Yeah, don't know. Just gotta give it a try. Going into town, I might pop in a Hobby Lobby, but every time I go in there, I find like I don't know why I even go into this fucking place, because every time I go there, there's less and less shit. They'll like, oh, you guys carry this, and then they discontinue it, and then they have some like the airbrush that I got. They had it at Hobby Lobby. That's why I figured I could use it, see if it was worth a damn, then return it. You know, obviously, I needed to be fucking careful with it, right? Like, use it once, not use it like 50 fucking times, right? And ended up being like a great piece, you know, and they had extra parts for it. Now they don't carry any Iwata stuff. Now they all have Ching Chang Chung crappy stuff. It's not that it's made in China. It's just made in China and it's crap, you know? So that's why I hate that store. And it takes forever to get out of there. Like, it's just turned into like JCPenney. Like, okay, I have exact change. Oh, it takes you forever to ring them up, and there's only one cashier open, and it's just a pain in the butt. So when people complain about, I don't like places that have self-checkout, I don't like places that have one cashier. Like, I don't mind checking my own shit out. I just don't like waiting behind somebody who's like, doesn't have their shit together. And I'm not like verbally upset about it. I just don't go to the store again. You saw a picture of a Hobby Lobby in Japan. It makes me sad. We can't have nice things like that. So apparently there's a flurry of them opening these Asian stores here in the United States. What's that one that I went to? Emisu, something or like that. And I'm like, oh, this will be cool. It's just full of Chinese crap. You know, it's not like you could find some things from Japan, like 2 things. They don't have any dye. It's all like anime and like shit anime for like, you know, man children. It's like, it's just crap. What is it? And is it called Emisu? And now they're opening another one. Asian store in Japan. What's it called? I don't know what it's called, but I went to one in Orlando, and it was like, oh, it looked really cool, and it's just like a bunch of like Temu, whatever the fuck you call it, shit. I'm like, I don't mind Chinese. They can make decent things in China. Some of the best model kits I had are from China. They don't have those there, you know. You know, you have Kinokuniya, but it is a Japanese bookstore. I saw a video that one of the Hot Wheels, and when I say Hot Wheels, I mean diecast guys. On one of the diecast channels, went to some convention in Japan, some Hot Wheels or diecast convention in Japan, and then while he was in Japan, he stopped at this store, and it was amazing, but the prices weren't good. Like I'm not buying anything at those prices, you know. They were really expensive. Even after you do the conversion rate, like, I'm not buying any of that shit. But I mean, they had like back to back to back to back to back cars. And they have a lot of JDM cars, which they may not be the best cars for Gaslands, but they're the best cars, period. At least if you ask me. I am a JDM fan, for sure, for sure. Except for that ridiculous hand drive. Should break free from British oppression. Start driving on the correct side. But that was amazing. They have some amazing, amazing things on there. But whatever that store was called, it was like food, okay, yeah. And they had like a bunch of like anime that I've never seen before that was just silly. They didn't have any Battle of the Planets or Gotcha Man stuff. So I'm like, okay, you don't have any of the cool anime. Not that I would have bought any, but it would have been like, oh, I remember that as a kid or something like that. And it was just like, 13-year-old girls and like man children. It's called something like a misu or something like that. Well, my daughter just sent me another one that they're going to put in another market. And she was like all excited, wherever it was. It's just going to be the same crap. Like, I was like, okay, well, let's see what diecast they had. They had some diecast that I've only seen that I'd never seen before. I looked it up, and it's a Temu diecast. Made in China, and they're like $3 a piece. So why would you spend twice what a Hot Wheels or Matchbox cost for a vehicle that's shitty? It's like, it doesn't make sense. I love JDM cars. Not Korean. I'm not buying no fucking Chinese car. JDM sports cars. Even though I only painted a couple, I have a lot to paint. A lot. I guess I should do my car before I end up having to get another car. Not that I'm in a hurry to do so, but things eventually happen where it doesn't make sense to keep something. Okay. Gonna head out. Catch you tomorrow morning if you're gonna be on. Yep, I better be, or I'm not living the right kind of life. I think before I go out, I'll probably try to throw some of that coating on that butte. I'm gonna try the smallest like mountain thing. Whenever I do it, it's gonna be the smallest one. Let's finish it all the way up. Use these colors because I think these colors are winners as far as like the terrain and stuff. And just see how it looks like. And it might, it might fit the bill. But I'm not doing anything until this barrier is done. We have something to show for it. Yeah, you head out early, man. I don't blame you. I think the other day, there was a day this week, I want to say it was Wednesday. I could be wrong. I went to sleep like at 8, or like 8:15 or something like that. It was before 8:30. Of course, I'm up at 4. I'd rather do it that way. Well, 8's a little extreme. I don't have a problem going to sleep at 10. Staying up till 1. Like, dude, I'm tired, man. I can't do math that late. Yeah, I'm glad I found that Lotus. I could use some more variety of vehicles for the Brits, for sure. To have this, I never looked it up. To have this some sports car, it's like I don't think it's British though. I could be wrong. Something I want to say it's called a Mc something or another. Hot Wheels Mick. It's not a McLaren. Like a McMurtry. Is that what this is? It's a good looking vehicle. No, it wasn't the McMurtry Spearling. It's a McMurtry something or another. I guess next time I see it, I'll look up the name and see what it is. McMurtry Spearling. It could just be a make believe car. British purely electric. Oh fuck that. hypercar. Known as a fan car, it uses twin rear fans to suck itself to the ground. Okay. Generating 2,000 kilograms of downforce from a standstill. It achieves 0 to 60 in roughly 1.4. Holy fuck. Okay. Fastest fucking car then, right there. It doesn't go that fast. It only goes up to 190. I wish I could take my car somewhere. Supposedly it can go to 155. Yeah, I'm not doing that on the road. You know. That would be fun to do. On a track. Man, 6th gear, 155. RPMs are probably going to be around 5,000, I would imagine. Yeah, something that fast. I guess it'd have to be a performance car. The game's not that precise. I am looking forward to there being more like vehicle types. I was going to say troop types. Same difference. Different troop types for vehicles. Oh, I forgot to go over the one thing that wasn't here. It was over the Formula One stuff. I ended up getting which I didn't have, the Sauber F1 car. Yeah, the kit car. It didn't come in the set of 5. Does have a driver though. I mainly just got these because I had the other set. I don't know that I'm going to convert any of these. And they make another set. I guess the other one would have Ferrari, McLaren. Who else would be on it? That's not included on here. All right, let's go back to the white one. See if we can finish this before we close up for the morning session. Now I have 6 of these. I mean, I don't need them everywhere. It's just in certain places, like, okay, this is the edge of the board. Let's put this here. Or, you could use nothing on the edge of the board because it's the edge, but like the interior edges, it'd be nice to have something to delineate that. maybe not so watery. And not that big of a step in color. I got a couple of Bentleys. I think they're Bentleys. Yeah, I got that one that has like the London Cops on it, and I got the other one that's called Fish and Chipped or something like that. The Fish and Chipped looks kind of like, I may repaint one of them. I may repaint one of them and call it the Grey Poupon. Side-mounted minigun. Excuse me, do you have any grip? They don't have to be practical. They don't need to be stupid designs, but they need to be, different from each other. All right, let's go back to red. Yeah, I much prefer this way than sit there and do a bunch of them one way. Boring. Okay, and then the two little nail marks. And I may put tufts on there. I'm just not going to cogitate over it. They would be arid looking tufts. You know, not any green on them at all. You know, this is not the land of plentiful water or anything like that. And then we've got one in the cupboard. So now we got 6 of these. And it sounds like a lot, but you know, if you're running this on the table, they don't have to be like back to back or anything like that. They could just be, you know, they'll be like a set of palm trees or rocks or something like that. That's what I should do. I should make an outcropping of rocks that's not huge, just like maybe this size, and give it the treatment of this and see how it looks compared to everything else. I think that's probably more reasonable. I'm gonna take one and make a small one instead of like try and take on this huge thing, and it might be overwhelming the way it looks like. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna do later on today. And just a little bit of, there's a little bit of color there. There. Done. I usually end up getting paint in places it shouldn't be. That was one of the few occasions where that happens. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this off the table. Easy enough to do, it just takes time. Yeah, if you do something like this, and obviously it would not be as tall as this, but something like this, it's made out of card, that's easy to cut. You could make a curved section out of it. You could put that foam or something like that. Put goop on it, maybe make it half as tall and not as rugged looking, and then paint it red and white and put fucking spikes or something like that. That would probably be okay. The question is, can I already use the card that I have? The card that I have, let's see where the container is with all these little. Let's just cut one. See where that takes us. I have a pair of scissors here. So what I need to do is pick up at the dollar store a pair of shitty ass scissors. You just run them into the ground and you don't care. Is there a pair here? Should be. want to use a good pair or a better pair. Be kind of rough with them. I thought they were here. Hold on 1 second. They're there. Alright. Let me put the ones I shouldn't be using back. I don't know if this is going to be big enough. You know, I don't have anything to lose screwing with this. That's where it should be. I could make something on here that's about, I can't really draw on here, but maybe 1 inch wide all the way around. So you'll have this little part. Let's do it. What's the worst thing can happen? I got nothing to lose. I'm only going to make one of them. This side's kind of curved, so we'll do the same thing there. We want it to look good. We want it to look like it's made, professionally, so to speak. All right, where is the? Yeah, we're really low on these. We got maybe 10. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to, I want the red and white painted like a rumble strip. I mean, it doesn't have to be red and white, but white in some other color. Like a rumble strip. that didn't turn out. That's not very noticeable. So I want to kind of keep that basic shape. I don't think I want to go all the way to the end. But let's just cut this shape out and see where that takes us. Thank you. It's all the way on the bottom, isn't it? Is it? No. So I know it's not the top one. It's not that one. It's not that one. I just can't see down there. Yeah, it goes down there. Just couldn't see it. Yeah, it's going to have a coating over it. Damn. Long ass freaking knife. Just startles you. Yeah, didn't draw blood on that one. Startles you. About time I started having some of these injuries. Considering I haven't had any. Okay, that's good. Let's hot glue gun in that in the shape. And we'll keep everything off this edge that we're going to have putting pressure. Wasted my good blood. We'll candy stripe the edge of this like a rumble strip. And then up here, we're going to build this up a little bit and use some abatis. Is that what it's called? The freaking punji sticks or whatever. Like you're not gonna enjoy running into this type of thing. And this can just be kind of haphazard. Want to build this up for multiple reasons. Give these skewers something to stick into. Something like that. I thought the sticks were right here. No? Where the fuck did the sticks go? No? This one. Let's put your glasses back on so you can see what you're doing. I have a shit ton of skewers. Probably just use toothpicks. They're a lot easier to come by in these things that are useful for all kinds of other stuff. Let's go grab some toothpicks. Be right back.